In 2077, what makes someone a criminal?
I appear to have angered the Cyberpunk community on the internet recently, and by recently I mean within maybe 5 to 6 months. Whenever I posted a little bit of a joke video called Cyberpunk 2077 Endless Coffee, which evidently does not count as real Cyberpunk content, whatever that's supposed to mean. But anyway, here we are today to right that wrong with what I consider to be an important review to do, going from 1.0 to after 1.5. I think they're up to like 1.6 now or something, or a minor version of 1.5. Anyway, if you watched other people's reviews on YouTube about how they both criticize and laud the story, the gameplay, the graphics, the sound, it's all largely the same. These updates have been focused on fixing gameplay glitches and drip feeding new content. Maybe a few small DLCs here and there, as well as, fixing glitches, updating models, that type of thing. So, this here will be a personal account of the differences that I appreciated between Cyberpunk 2077 1.0 versus 1.5. So, let's get in on this. So, the most immediate one to notice was indeed the graphics. Now, this is a bit of a personal story for me. Whenever I played 1.0, I played it on the ever-venerable GTX 1080 Ti, which is a workhorse of a card. It's still a good card if you don't exactly need ray tracing, but let's just say for this game, you're really going to want that ray tracing, because the lighting is so much better, the reflections are so much better, and they very recently patched in ray traced shadows. So the shadows are not only more accurate, but they look more real and they're a little softer. So I was of course playing this game on the RTX 3080 Ti, which is a world of difference. So yes, if you have the option, turn on ray tracing. It's great. So that's the one thing that immediately jumped out at me the most, but let's go over a lot of the gameplay things that I noticed and very well appreciated. Starting off with my favorite, new apartments. Yeah, as you can see, I like apartments, and having V only live in one apartment through the city, that was kind of a drag. So funnily enough, 2 of the apartments share the exact same floor plan. They just changed up some of the furniture and decorations. But you have those 2 apartments, you have a Japanese-themed apartment, and you have the Corpo-themed apartment, which is my favorite. My character in this playthrough started off as a street punk, but then he got the smarts enough to become a Corpo scumbag. The lilies think like them. But anyway. Yeah, so more things to spend money on. Generally a good thing in video games. So, gameplay difference number 2 that I appreciated a lot. The ability to change your character's appearance after leaving character creation. Now this is huge and dovetails into another change, addition, whatever that happened earlier, which is photo mode, which again is huge. Photo mode was not present in the first build, and I think it came in like 1.2 or 3 or something. But basically, what it is you press a button on your controller keyboard, and you enter a third-person camera photo mode, which is huge because 1.0 did not have any other camera, even during the cutscenes, except what V, the lead character, sees. And that gets lame really quickly. So just the addition of a third-person camera mode for taking pictures is glorious. And, you know, the addition of being able to change your character, even if it's for a fee, is very welcome, because what if you're not the same person as when you started the game, which very likely will be the case. As mentioned before, my character went from street punk to corpo, so I decked him out a little bit, but he still stayed true to his street kid roots with his wild and crazy hairdo and persistent need for sunglasses. But anyway, yeah, an avid Sims player, I love this. I love a good character creation screen. I love the ability to modify characters after they're created. So this was very awesomely put in, and I can't celebrate this change enough. So, what's next? We got the way the vehicles handle on the road, and driving in general. Driving is a lot better in this game. For one, they tweaked how handling works. So, you know, the gearbox actually feels like a gearbox. You have a quick acceleration and then a slower acceleration instead of just a constant. So that's always nice. And also they changed the way the braking works. Braking now feels a lot faster and more responsive. Handling was always good, like turning. But the change I appreciate most, actually, comes from the GPS, the little mini-map on the top right corner of the screen there. Yeah, that thing used to update very slowly. Like, I would miss turns all the time, and by the time I'm done correcting for my turn, it would attempt to redraw the route, and I would have to wait for it to redraw the route back to the original, you know, like real GPSs. But this new GPS is able to pretty much autocorrect on the fly. So they did improve the GPS, which is great. Fantastic. Now I don't get lost quite as often. Another small change that I did notice, and this is a bug fix, whenever side characters said they would call you later to help finish a mission or whatever, sometimes they wouldn't call. But now they always call. They always call. So that's a good thing, because they used to be punks. Get it? They used to be punks and not call. So now they call, which is darn awesome. I did almost mess up this river side mission before ending my save. But as it turns out, I skipped over the option to call him back. So, calling River back helped, you know, finish that series of missions. And last but not least, the beat on the Brat side missions. So, for those that don't know, the beat on the Brat series of side missions are optional. And they basically revolve around an underground boxing ring within Night City. So you get in there, you fight, so on and so forth. While still not being entirely fair, they at least are a little easier. So this is the Dark Souls part of the game, where you gotta really know what your combatant is doing. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good time. So, I would recommend that you wouldn't even enter this series of side missions until you had enough street cred, body, stat, whatever, to buy the legendary gorilla arms. Then you stood kind of a fighting chance to start. But the finisher was still pretty darn tough. Well, now they nerfed it a little bit. Now, the opposing boxers have a significantly less amount of hit points, so the health bar drips faster per hit. But I would still recommend at least picking up the iconic version of the gorilla arms. Otherwise, it's going to be ridiculously tough. And again, if you can afford them and have the stats, the legendary gorilla arms are still heavily recommended for that series of side missions. Recommended. Yeah, it's still aggravating. It's still a thing, but gets you a lot of extra street cred and body points, and gets you, if you beat it, if you somehow beat these on the iconic or even lesser version of the gorilla arms, you get a free pair of legendary gorilla arms, and that's like a 50,000 Eddie value. That's not chump change. So yeah, these are just a few of the many changes that happened between 1.0 and 1.5, the ones that I appreciated a lot. So I suppose if you were waiting to pick up the game to iron out all the to iron out and smooth the gameplay experience, I mean, if you're waiting for a perfect game, keep waiting, because there are still a handful of now entertaining glitches that still need to be fixed. I'm a big fan of the exploding pile of trash bags glitch, where each trash bag bounces off the other spontaneously. That's always a good time. But if you want to play a game that's basically 95 to 99% complete, or you are waiting for the game to get in a playable state, now is it. Pick it up. It's been optimized. The PS4 version, probably not the best way to experience it, but it's playable now. The PS5 version is definitely the way to go for the almost PC-like experience. The Xbox Series X version is a close second, and I think both of those older console versions will auto upgrade to the appropriate console of what you bought if you put in the PS4 discs or the Xbox One disc. I would very much recommend not playing the Xbox One X version like ever, because that basically breaks almost every time, from what I've heard anyway. So, but yeah, so if you've been waiting for the game to be playable and enjoyable instead of just playable and trying to see past the errors and into what this game could be, then get it, because now it's great. Now it's playable.